Welcome on into 19 on the Clock, your Tri-State High School and College Sports podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pushkar. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Jackson McCarty. And Jackson, it is time. It's finally time.
I have never been more excited for anything in my life, Brad.
Of course, we are talking about the return of high school and college football.
It's me.
Not in the Tri-State necessarily, but
say
in
it
the Tri-State.
Say it one more time. What is
The
return of?
The return of the MAC. And
Well,
high
yes.
school and college football.
And all the other conferences.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
I am okay. So I recently went and bought new clothes for the first time since like the first Trump administration, right? And
I love that that's your defining line. Yeah, go for it.
well, you got to break them up.
Yeah.
And it feels oh so appropriate because it just happened at the end of last week. It feels like I'm back to school shopping.
Yeah.
And I have acquired new things for this momentous week, and we've been counting it down for months, really since it ended last year. And I'm just so happy that I have 4 games to talk about in the Tri-State of 8 fantastic teams. Such a hard week to limit just to 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I could have sat here and talked about like 8 or 9 games, but we don't have the time for that.
Yes. There's a size limit on the file
correct,
that we can upload. So.
Correct. We would be here for hours, but I am just so happy that we are back where we need to be.
Yes, and obviously it's going to be week 0 for the college season. Mm-hmm. No local teams are playing, but the thing is that we do have local teams playing next Thursday. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go over those games because by the time that next week's episode comes out, the games may already be happening. And then, you can save that next week's episode for like a Friday listen and be ready for your games on Saturday.
Exactly.
So we will be talking about UC and Nebraska and Miami, Wisconsin. And then we'll also maybe try and touch on a little bit of news that has come out in the last few days and things like that. But let's start off with high school football.
Yeah,
I know you're excited.
Music to my ears. And we have obviously been going through the previews and kind of forward-looking to this season.
Yeah.
One of the very key portions of our viewing area that I was like, we're going to hold off for right now because of I think
you've mentioned it every week because you were like, we're holding off on this.
And because I feel bad about it. Because we did have to delay, but we are finally here. We get to talk about our Indiana football.
Yes.
Because we're starting with East Central versus Lawrenceburg. And now EC, the Trojans, last year, 8-4, started with a 24-3 win over the Lawrenceburg Tigers. So obviously looking to just extend that streak there. Had over 2,600 rushing yards, which was the main focal point of their offense, and then 12.5 yards allowed per, or 12.5 points allowed per game. There we go. Some of the key players you're going to want to remember: Ryan Mings, 1,500 yards. 7.2 yards per carry, 25 touchdowns. Naiden Houston, defensive back over there, 4 interceptions, 48 tackles. And then Jake Beer, as the way I'm going to go with that, Beare, 48 tackles, 7 tackles for loss and a sack. They did have a couple guys that, like on their defense specifically, that were graduating and moving on. But the core of the team, I still feel like is pretty intact. Obviously, the offense running through Ryan, feel good about where they're going to be at coming into the year.
That's good.
Yeah, and then on the other side, Lawrenceburg had a better record overall, 10-2. Did obviously lose that game to EC. Their other loss was to Batesville in the playoffs. Was at that game, 21-7. It was just one of those that it felt like Lawrenceburg. It felt like Lawrenceburg was doing a good job of moving the ball. They just couldn't ever quite finish it. So it's come up a little short there. But Batesville, capitalized on it. 9.7 allowed per game last year, and then 2,500 rush yards. But they also had about 600 more passing. So overall, a more productive offense. Slightly down on the running game, which would be their 2 main focuses, though. Between these 2 teams. The names that you need to know returning: Crew Gilmore, the quarterback, over 1,100 pass yards, almost 70% completion rate, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, also over 750 rush yards. Very, very talented dude. Their top primary running backs returning kind of a 1-2 combo, rather. There we go. Isaiah Williams, over 300. Quan Foster, almost 300. Very, very talented setup of guys there. And then Keaton McGrath, a receiver for the team, almost 700 receiving yards on 49 receptions, 4 touchdowns, and then he also had 2 interceptions as a defensive back. The main thing that I'm watching with this game is I am mostly appealed to the fact that the star running back in our Indiana section is back for East Central. Was the main reason in my mind that they won by such a large margin against Lawrenceburg last year. Don't know that there's been enough development on either side to really sway it too much. I do think it'll be a closer game, but I do still lean EC because Mings is just such a talented back.
Do you think that Mings' development into this year is going to mean a difference or make a big difference for EC as they move into the season as well? And also kind of playing like more 5A teams and those bigger schools and things like that.
I would say so. Because like a lot of their losses were against very talented teams. Like Ron Colley was on there.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the team that they lost to end the playoff, the name's escaping me, but it was not a rough way to go about on their schedule. And a lot of them were pretty marginal, from what I can remember. But I do think that, Mings just now being a junior is so massive because have a 1,500-yard guy as a sophomore is just absurd. So whenever you have such a game changer, it's kind of like the Devlin Daniel conversation we had with Indian Hill. Mm-hmm. You feel like you have to put a lot of chips on a team because this athlete is so transcendent relative to who he's playing against. So I'm just so heavily shifted into that it's kind of swaying my opinion in the whole ordeal because you know who the most talented athlete is on that field.
Yes, and I'll tell you the losses were Harrison, Moeller.
Yeah. I mean,
Roncalli, and then Decatur Central.
There we go. Yeah, Moeller and Harrison.
Yeah, which Decatur? Oh,
or did you say Harrison or Anderson? I'm sorry.
Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah. Harrison's 35-28.
Right.
Which is, again, a close game.
And everybody lost big to Moeller.
Yeah.
That's Moeller.
Yes.
The only teams that didn't lose big to Moeller were typically other GCL South schools.
Yeah. And it was, and if you noticed, I kind of zoned out for a second. I was trying to look up because I could not remember the schools, what conference that I went to in Northeast Indiana. And so I was like, were we 6A or 5A? Could they have overlapped? So type away.
Trying to figure out if you ever ran into EC.
Well, yeah, kind of. And then I was like, I got to a list. And I was like, this is just every team in Indiana. This is a power ranking. This isn't actually by conference.
Right.
So you feel East Central still.
That would be my guess. But I do want to give credit. Crew Gilmore is going to be a very fun kid to see how he's developed this year. Mm-hmm. Again, as a sophomore last year, as their quarterback, over 1,100 yards, another 600 and change on the ground, or 700 and change rather. Very talented athlete in his own right. It's just both of these offenses are predominantly run-based.
Yeah.
And it's hard to take away from a guy that's running 1,500 yards as a 16-year-old, 15-year-old.
Yes, absolutely.
Sorry. But yeah, fantastic game. Very excited to see how that one all turns out.
Yeah. So let's move a little bit closer to Cincinnati then.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah, dropping right on the Ohio side, which the beauty of week one was that we get such a wide variety. We have an Indiana game. We have 2 Ohio teams. We have an Ohio-Kentucky game. And then we have 2 Kentucky teams, as our 4. We'll start with the Ohio side between Lakota West and St. X. Was voted as the Fox 19 game of the week this week by a pretty wide margin. Sorry.
There you go.
I think they won the vote by they ended up having 40-something odd % of the vote. It was tremendous, and it's easy to see why. We'll start with Lakota West there. Last year, a 11-2 team, over 36.6 points per game, 8.4 allowed. These 2 teams played each other twice last year. St. X won by 3 the first time, and then beat St. X by 4, or Lakota West beat St. X by 4 later in the year. Mm-hmm. Or sorry, I got that reversed. They opened the year, Lakota West won, St. X beat them on the circle around.
Okay.
Point being, it was a 1-point differential when you add the 2 scores of this game, or of those games last year. because ultimately their 2-game series was separated by 1 point.
Yeah.
And to get to start the season with this again is going to be fantastic, especially because there's a lot of talented returners, primarily for St. X, and would point me in the direction to lean their way. Mm-hmm. But we do still, like Jackson Smith did get a handful of opportunities last year as quarterback, 12 for 18 with over 100 passing yards, over 200 rush yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, we saw some of that value come out. Braden Johnson, almost 600 rush yards on 6.9 yards per carry. And then Kenyon Norman, another running back, over 500 yards. Like, those are the 3 guys that you need to know Lakota West coming into this year. Interested to see how they all develop. Interested to see how they all take over their roles. Because for most of them, it is going to be their first time genuinely being front and center. And I think Tom Bolden has done a lot of work to get them where they need to be.
Yes.
St. X, you don't really have to do that because these guys have sat here and been a big part of the team. Daniel Vollmer, we talked about him ad nauseum whenever St. X popped up. He is a 3-star athlete committed to Vandy, over 1,000 all-purpose yards, 18 total touchdowns last year. Going to play running back, going to play some quarterback, going to catch the ball, going to really do whatever the team needs of him. Jake Britt, a receiver, over 350 on the ground, over 450 in the air. Jacoby Clapper, if you're watching this on Thursday, 2 days ago, Jacoby Clapper was number 3 on the top 19 on 19 list. Notre Dame commit. His coach compared him to Luke Kuechly, who he's coached both. Like, he is a freak of nature, 105 total tackles, 4.5 sacks. Such a just tremendously talented team. And both of these teams are. But St. X does have the leverage of proven top-level athletes returning to the team. And that's hard to beat.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go to these games every week like you do.
Yes.
And so it's a much more of a, I hear what comes back. I watch the highlights when I cut stuff, things like that. If you're ever going to tell me there's 2 teams, if you're ever giving me a matchup and you go, one of the teams is either St. X or Moeller, I'm going to go, they'll probably win.
Yeah.
It could even be, it could have been Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been whoever. I'd be like, I'm still vying for, or I would put my chips on St. X or Moeller.
Yeah.
And it's just the way those programs run. And, I've talked to my dad, who was a Northwest grad in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, who are like some of the top teams? And I'm like, well, St. X and Moeller. He's like, oh, still? And I was like, yeah, it's,
it doesn't change.
It doesn't really change.
And like, obviously we don't have to get into like school choice and all that good stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, like whenever
that does play a factor into it as well.
Yeah. Whenever you've been such a dominant football program for that long, and you're offering such a high education, mm-hmm. like, yeah, you're going to maintain. Like, it's like why Notre Dame and universities like that have stayed where they are for so long. And yeah, it's just one of those things that you're right. St. X is a hard one to beat. The thing that keeps giving me pause is that Tom Bolden's on the other sideline.
Okay.
That's not a man that I like to bet against.
Yeah.
Truthfully. I mean, he is a coach's coach through and through. He knows how to win. He wins consistently and constantly. And if he thinks that Jackson Smith, Braden Johnson, and Kenyon Norman are the guys that are going to get him where he wants to be this year, then they probably are. Mm-hmm. So while I am going to take St. X in this game, do not take that as a sign that Lakota West couldn't do what they did last year if they run into them again and beat them on the back turn.
Do you want to, now that we're 2 games in?
Yeah.
And I'm deciding this right now.
Yes.
Should we start keeping track of predictions through the year?
We can.
Okay.
We totally can. I will make, like, I'll do a thing at the bottom of my notes, or I'll even make a shared doc. And like I'll update those every week.
I was gonna say because I can mark them as we're going through right now.
Okay. Yeah.
So are we doing? So we're both picking St. X in this game.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you take EC or Lawrenceburg?
I would go. I'm thinking EC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in agreement there on those first 2.
Yeah, we'll split somewhere.
Yes. Oh, I've got a feeling it's the next one.
It it probably is actually.
And if it's not that one, honestly. Yeah, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our interstate game that I am also just extremely pumped about. Brad, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very happy that we're back in football season.
I know, and I'm also like looking at this. I'm like, these are two teams that you love more than anything. So I know that you're excited about this game.
Oh, dude, so I'm going to be at Hamilton and Baton, which also is going to be a fantastic game, rivalry game, like week one, full. Who knows what will happen this season? Probably going to be a top 2 or 3 atmosphere in the state, in my opinion.
Yes.
But this game is going to hold a special place in my heart, and I'm very excited to see the highlights on Friday night. Anderson and Cooper. Anderson Cooper, if you will.
Yeah.
Cooper.
Moving along, newsboy.
Sorry. The sports boy, according to Trisha Mackey. Thank you very much. Cooper headed to Anderson for this game. We'll talk about the Jags first.
Yes.
They went 14-1 last year. Their only game they lost was in the title game to Bowling Green. 2 one-score games all year. Winning by double digits constantly.
Some would say that's good.
Yeah, I would. It's decent at the bare minimum.
Yeah, bare minimum.
And so are these numbers. They averaged 44.3 points per game, while allowing 16.8 on average.
Math checks out.
Margin of 27, 8, yeah, somewhere in there.
It's 27.5.
Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at us. We were close. And like, while they are losing a lot of talent at receiver. Like Austin Alexander and those guys, they do still have quite a bit of returning talent, most notably Cam O'Hara, a quarterback that I've gone on record like fighting and dying for.
Have you?
Basically, yeah. Very, very talented dude, Western Kentucky commit, over 3,600 pass yards, 52 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 65.2% completion rate. Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, That's a talented dude. Wait, okay, so this comes out Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday he was revealed as number 2 on the top 19 on 19 list.
There we go.
So, yeah, it's very topical of us. Keegan Maher, his running back, also back, 1,400 yards, 22 touchdowns. Riker Campbell, I would say they're one of their best defenders, 102 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 8 interceptions. That's not right, is it? 8 interceptions feels like that's an insane amount. Hold on. That like hold on.
We do our research here.
But like that's like I feel like I remember that being a thing, but like I just read it again and that freaked me out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just one of those that I feel the need that has to be rechecked. Cooper. It's not going to take me long, I promise.
This is the funniest thing that you've. I mean, there's 2 touchdowns that you have listed right after it, so it could also make sense.
Yeah, but 8 interceptions, dude. Like that's insane.
While you're looking that up, I will just say you mentioned the wide receivers being gone for Cam O'Hara's options and things like that. I think the best thing about this is that it is not you're rebuilding an offense around a quarterback. It's just you're giving him new targets.
It's 8 interceptions.
Okay, yeah.
That is crazy. So, okay, like full transparency, like a lot of these notes I had done previous. And like, so like the actual person-to-person research when we were doing the breakdowns I was like, oh, I'll pull them over, do whatever. With Cooper, like there are some teams that I feel better and then some teams I feel worse about knowing coming into these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Cam O'Hara, Keegan Maher, Riker Campbell, like I know Cooper. I'm not going to like look over these notes.
Like a double check
that.
These.
Yeah, I was like, that's what just happened. In which, like, had I double checked them, I would have done this in the privacy of my own home. This is way better content, so it's fine. But yeah, it's to kind of circle like you were talking about the receivers being lost: Isaiah Johnson, Jaden Combs, Austin Alexander, all very talented dudes. But Cooper, or when you have a good quarterback, a lot of times the production will find itself. You know, and guys will step up into those roles. We don't necessarily know who it'll be just yet, but the production will be made.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, just because I didn't mention him, and I do have him on the notes, Max Wethington, 75 tackles, 3 tackles for loss last year. I think he steps up into a bigger role as well.
Yes.
All right, so Anderson, the Raptors, 15-1 last year. Similar issues with with what Cooper had. The only game they lost was in the state title game, 7-point loss to Avon, sorry.
Okay.
Evan Dreyer, their head coach, fantastic. Continues to rebuild, has guys in place at all times.
Yeah.
And, like, even whenever he does have a ton of really talented guys circling out, like Justice Burnham, their quarterback, over 4,100 pass yards. Darrell Turner, their running back, over 1,200 rush yards. Yeah, like their top 3 receivers are graduating. Owen Bergman, who had 3 sacks. Jayon Saunders, who had 5 interceptions. Like Stanyard, 9 sacks. Like it's just so many guys that contributed in such meaningful ways.
Yes.
But they still have guys that are silver linings and talented dudes that makes me feel like they're not going to drop off terribly. Like, could they, in the regular season, win 7 or 8 instead of 10? Sure. Entirely possible. But, like, Owen Scalf, their quarterback, had 576 yards, 72.2% completion, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception. A lot of that was cleanup work, you know, when they were up by 50 at halftime or whatever. And, and they were like, hey, Justice Burnham, don't, like, get yourself injured, you know, staying out here. But still, in cleanup time, putting up those numbers, you take that. Cooper Kathman, a receiver, over 400 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns. Reed Baker, 9 sacks for that defense. Brady Kuhn, an Air Force commit, 5 sacks, 78 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss. And then a fantastic corner duo of Kamari Ty and Ace Austin. 5 combined interceptions. I think both of those guys are going to be, like, real problems.
Yeah.
And so it's like, while, yes, on paper, your gut would be, I'm going to go Cooper's direction because I feel like they lost a little less. Anderson, I think, had more generally.
Okay.
If that makes sense. And so, like, now I feel like it has kind of balanced itself out a little.
Where even though you are losing such the top level of the Anderson lineup, what was right underneath is just as good and ready.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
1,000%. And like the development process for this team, they put themselves in such a fantastic position where it's like, okay, we do have this time at the end of a lot of games to send that next level of kid out to get that experience. So you're not even necessarily as worried about weeks 1 through 3 being, oh, he's just now getting actual reps. He's just now seeing game speed. Scalf's going to get to come in with like 3 or 4 appearances last year. And where it's like, was it like the start of the game, a real deal, whatever? No. But was it still game speed? Were those kids on the other side still not trying to get you? Yeah.
Were they still not trying to put him on the ground?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So, yeah, Brad, prior to me making my prediction, I'd love to hear the way you're leaning here. It's a tough one.
It is, and I won't lie, I was going to wait to hear yours. And then I can do mine.
I can do mine first if you'd rather.
Yeah, you do yours first.
Okay.
Only because I know you know these teams a lot better than I do.
I am going to go with it being home field advantage with a lot of the defensive core pieces returning for Anderson.
Okay.
And with because Austin Alexander, while we mentioned him as a receiver that left, also a very valuable defender. Like that is going to be a big difference maker for how Cooper looks early.
Yes.
I am going to take the Raptors in what is going to be a very close game. And like if you told me that Cooper came out and won by 14, I'd go, yep, totally. But I think that just those 2 linebackers and those 2 corners, that scares me.
That's fair.
And where it's like, I think you just go the Raptors' direction.
This podcast has shown that it can develop its biases.
Yes.
And that's why I'm taking the Cooper Jaguars because I believe in Cam O'Hara.
Yeah, dude.
Where you are letting him go.
Listen, I will give all.
I will keep him in my heart. No, I'll be very honest. Part of this was, I'm like I could have flipped a coin.
Yeah. And
done this instead. But I also think it's more interesting if we don't pick the same team every single time.
I agree.
So this was very much one where I was like, I'm going to pick the other one but I do still believe in Cooper, and I do like the returning pieces on offense a lot that I would say could be a lot more for the Anderson to handle, even though they had such an aggressively restrictive defense last year.
Yes. And you want to know a secret, Brad?
Go for it.
I outsourced you to pick first because I was also going to flip.
Yeah.
Okay. Being the high school guy.
I'm glad we had the same idea. Of that one,
yeah. But like being the high school guy.
Yeah.
It was very like, okay, I still don't know who's like, I'm still coin flip situation here.
Yeah.
So it's like, I might as well just let Brad take whoever he feels better about. But yeah, like it's a really tough one, and all the credit in the world to both of those teams. I think they're both probably going to win 9 or 10 games, and probably more going into the playoffs. But
cool.
It's just tough out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then our final game,
let's round it out.
Double Kentucky. Mm-hmm. We've got Newcath and we've got Lloyd. Both teams were on my Kentucky season preview.
Yes.
Powerhouses, real interested. Let's lock in. Newport Central Catholic, the Thoroughbreds, 9-4 last year. Lost to Campbellsville in the state quarterfinals, 37 points per game, 15 allowed per game, 6 games of 8 or less allowed, 3 shutouts. That defense was nasty. There's a handful of guys on the defense that did get lost. It was more of a group effort, so you didn't see just a ton of like super flashy stats. They are going to be replacing Caleb Cole, who's their lead running back, had over 1,100 yards, 24 touchdowns. But the guys that were returning, their quarterback, Emmanuel Miles, over 1,400 pass yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 picks. So really efficient quarterback. Eddie Bivens, a running back who I think is probably going to step into the main role, 440 rush yards, 4 touchdowns, and then on defense, 3 interceptions. And then their main defender that I want you guys to know about going into this game, 78 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, a sack, a pick, a fumble recovery. Max Meyer, just a junior, also had 116 receiving yards. He's just super talented kid. Very, very interested. I don't think I've ever been to a Newcath game.
Okay.
Only what I've seen on FQ. But they are a team that I remember hearing a lot about last year, and every time I was like, I can't wait to get to a Newcath game, and hopefully that happens at some point this season because they are just a really interesting school. The Newport Newcath game would be a very fun one to go to.
Yeah,
you remember the drama of that, but either way, certainly a team that I think could sneak up on a lot of people and be a 10 or 11 win school this year.
Okay,
a team that I don't think would be sneaking up on anybody inherently. But I do think is just super dangerous. Lord Memorial, the Juggernauts. Mm-hmm. 9-3 last year. Lost to Russell 21-20 in the second round of the state tournament. 14.3 points allowed per game last year. Also had a great defense, obviously, there. Held opponents to less than 10 4 times. Most they ever allowed last year, Newcath, 27. So, there's – and also, like that 27 allowed to Newcath, Caleb Cole, a lot of that production, he's gone.
Yes. Very true.
Top 3 rushers, top receiver, top joint tackler, 16 of 20 interceptions graduating. That's the problem. But still, like I said, I'm not concerned about them sneaking up on anybody because they are a consistent team, and they do still have plenty of talent returning, most notably their quarterback, Caleb Evans. Mm-hmm. Over 2,000 pass yards, 24 touchdowns, 3 picks. We talked about Emmanuel Miles being efficient, Caleb Evans, same amount of interceptions, more touchdowns, more yards. He just kind of had it rolling a little bit more this year, or last year rather. Interested to see how that battle plays out. Mm-hmm. Colton Barger, a sophomore last year, just a freshman, 400 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you take that every day of the week as a 14 or 15-year-old player.
This next one is the one that I'm actually most impressed with.
Yeah. Another sophomore, Lincoln Tomlinson, 107 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, a pick.
Yeah. That's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty stat
Yeah.
line.
And he's still got this year, next year, and the year after.
Yeah.
And then to round out their guys that you want to pay attention to, Elijah Griffin, 3 interceptions for that defense as a team. So those are the 4 interceptions that are still sticking around on this roster. And while, sure, without giving them all their names, like I did say that they had a lot of leading insert whatever graduating. Mm-hmm. But I still feel very good about the defense where it's at. I think that playmakers are going to make plays.
Yeah.
And ultimately athleticism, it kind of rules at the high school level. And so they're going to put athletic guys in those positions and still get a lot of return on investment with those interceptions that they no longer have. Overall, though, I am inclined to say that Lloyd wins this.
So I was actually going to agree with you
Okay.
on this. There's a part of me that goes Newport is only loses Caleb Cole. Maybe.
Right.
There's a lot of big production still. Like Eddie Bivens is still, I think, can step up into that role well.
For sure.
I think that the team as a whole of Lloyd goes, we're not losing this game again.
Yes.
When you come back next year type thing. And so that was a little bit of, in my head, what's fueling the Juggernauts this year. So I guess we'll agree on 3 and
yeah. Which is, I mean,
disagree on
honestly,
1.
like this week, like are they huge games? Sure.
Yeah.
And like, but I think with this game, with really every single one of them that we talked about, like it would have been so easy to flip on.
Mm-hmm.
We just happened to be going in the same direction, and I'm the one that is presenting.
You're
these
the one
cases.
that sells it to me too. Yeah.
Exactly. So like ultimately, if I've got a prediction, odds are that I, in some way, shape, or form, it has shaped the sell of the whole ordeal.
Yes.
So yeah, 3 games the same, 1 different, and we will be keeping track of these as the season goes along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll do that. We'll do that on the college side as well.
Well, yes, yeah, and we've got 2 of them that we can go ahead and make tonight, can't we?
Yes, and we'll make them today, and I will just make sure I keep them for
Future reference.
Because I don't even know. I'm not gonna like make a graphic or anything. I think we'll just do results at the end of each week.
Yeah, I think so.
Or at the start of the next week type thing. So you'll see how we did on next week's episode. Mm-hmm. Go from there. We'll kind of cover it from that. But yeah, let's talk about college football because we have games this Saturday.
Yep.
And I know you and I have both planned out our viewing schedules.
Yeah, we sat down and literally were trying to map out what time you go get dinner,
go get lunch at
here.
Yeah,
exactly.
But so in just about a week from when this episode is out, in just a week from where this episode is out, there will be Thursday games.
Yes.
And so playing this next Thursday, the 28th, Nebraska and Cincinnati in Kansas City at Arrowhead Stadium. Mm-hmm. And then Miami will be going up to, I almost said Washington, to Wisconsin to face the Badgers.
Oh, Madison.
Yes. So I'm going to start with Miami because I think it's going to actually be the better game.
Okay.
And I'll explain why. It's because there's not a lot known about both of these teams.
Yes, it is very just big old question marks.
So as we kind of talked about with Miami in the MAC preview, there's so much transfer talent coming in and out.
Yes.
They lost like 11 starters. There was it's like one returning offensive producer. Mm-hmm. What do you do when that's what you're dealing with?
Right. Like, yeah, it's spring and summer camps have never been more important.
Absolutely. And I will say this, Chuck Martin, obviously great coach.
Yes.
Did I think the smartest thing you could have done, which was got the former MAC Player of the Year to come and be your quarterback again.
That feels like a safe bet to make, doesn't it?
Now, I am cautiously optimistic about DeQuan Finn. Mm-hmm. I think he is a great quarterback. I think he was excellent with Toledo. Obviously, he went to Baylor, only played, I think, 4 games, had to deal with injury, medical stuff. Now he's coming back to the MAC. In the most respectful way, I think he's like the ceiling of the MAC in a way, but not necessarily exceptional in the other conferences and things like that. Like I don't think he makes that switch to the Big Ten like Curtis Rourke made, going from Ohio to Indiana.
Yeah, like I feel like traditionally the best quarterback in the MAC is going to be probably the 6th best quarterback or 7th best quarterback in a P4.
Yes.
And like that, that's why they're broken up like that.
And
can you develop beyond that? Sure, but traditionally.
Also, he was at Baylor.
Yeah.
Baylor wasn't not doing great.
No, they were in a tough spot. Dave Aranda has become a really weird coach to case study.
Yes. But so you do have so that is who's going to be leading behind the ball. I am interested in seeing because we don't have true depth charts just yet. We'll kind of have to see what happens when the game happens. But it's going to be he most likely is going to have 3 transfer wide receivers as his options. Mm-hmm. On top of that, a likely transfer tight end.
Yep.
Right now, it looks like Grant Leaper, who is a sophomore, is possibly going to be the number one option.
Just so many names.
Well, and I'll say that if I need to remember, I think he came from Notre Dame, but he's also, or no, he came from Iowa. But he is from Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is why.
Oh, there you go. That's
my
the
boy.
connective tissue.
Yeah, where'd he go? Yeah, he was at Iowa for a year.
Who, Leaper?
Leaper.
Okay.
Yes, Grant Leaper. And can I see what high school he went to easily? Oh, Homestead, which was my rival growing up.
So no longer your boy.
No, it was Southwest Allen County. It's fine. We were Northwest. They were Southwest. Fort Wayne schools. It's the county system. No. But
what a mess.
But I don't know. I would have set that up in Fort Wayne. It's fine.
No, I know.
But yeah. So I'm kind of curious to see. I want to see what DeCon Finn does in his first game. I want to see if they're a very pass-heavy offense, or if they go for a more running back, run-focused play style. I think there's options that they can really use. On the defensive side, you have a lot more people returning. I think I'm actually less concerned about the Miami defense, only just to close up gaps and leaks from last year, and because you kind of saw that happen in the MAC championship against Ohio, where Ohio was kind of passing and running all over him in a way.
Yeah.
And so once that defense can shift, give the offense a little bit more of a backbone, I think that'll be good for them.
Has Wisconsin announced who their starter is?
No, and that was what I was also going to mention, because you don't really have a starting quarterback for Wisconsin right now.
Because they transferred two more names.
Danny O'Neill and Billy Edwards Jr.
Yes. But Tyler Van Dyke's graduated, right?
Yeah. My understanding is that
Years left.
Edwards Jr. is the number one.
Okay.
That was from quick reading.
And also, it doesn't really matter because Fickle just, has not landed smoothly on, any quarterback yet.
Yeah.
Nick Evers was supposed to be his developmental guy. And Nick Evers is, no longer with the program, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
The old OU kid.
Yeah.
TVD, was benched, I think, halfway through the year for them last year. It's just been a weird – he's supposed to be an offensive guy.
Yeah, I mean, his quarterback room right now is a true freshman and 3 transfers.
Yeah.
That are coming in this year. So it was a complete change.
But, I think that's been the case every year. I think he's pretty much had a brand-new QB room.
Yes.
Or at least at the front
or at least
of
close
it.
to it, yeah.
Right. Regardless, it's a weird state to be in, for Wisconsin. And
but this is why I think that the Edwards Jr. pickup is a decent play. He was Maryland's quarterback last year.
Yep.
Threw about 2,880 yards, 65% completion, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Not the best, but I also don't think Maryland had necessarily the offensive weapons that he could have needed.
Right. Loxley's done a lot to fix it this year, but last year it wasn't there yet.
And so it's looking like Vinny Anthony II, who's a senior for Wisconsin, Jaden Ballard, and Trek Kekahuna are going to be the starting 3 receivers. Ballard is a transfer in a redshirt senior as well. He came over from Ohio State. And so I'm.
Remind me, because I know we discussed this. Do you have Miami's schedule on hand?
Give me 30 seconds, and yeah.
Cool, because I'd like to be reminded of who their first 4 were, because I know the prediction is coming up, and we had discussed during the Max talks. I said that they're going to lose. That Miami's going to lose their Wisconsin game, but still start 3-1.
It is. I know it is Wisconsin. It is Rutger.
Yeah.
It is UNLV, and then it was Lindenwood, the team that we had to look up.
So I presume the next setup or the next thing up was to do the prediction, and so I'm going to say that Wisconsin wins, even though they are a really weird team. I think it's going to be a super close game. I think Miami can pretty much, like, I know moral victories aren't a thing, but I think that they take a moral victory here, lose by a score, and proceed to carry that momentum into a Rutgers win, who I do think is a better team than Wisconsin, for the record.
Okay.
They carry that into a win against Rutgers, into a win against UNLV, and then obviously Lindenwood.
I'm going to take Miami.
Okay.
And I will tell you why. And I think it's I think it is solely because coaching.
Chuck Martin is the superior coach right now. I think.
And Fickle with Wisconsin. I mean, the thing about Wisconsin was arguably the most consistent offense for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Because you knew what they were going to do, but you didn't always know how to stop it.
Yeah.
And that was why they ran the Big Ten East for a little while, and like maybe Iowa would flip up into them, and it was like, wow, and then Wisconsin came back, and then maybe a Purdue 1 year, like there was all these. It was this like Wisconsin's the team of the team of the West,
yes,
and then it was like somebody would maybe knock them down, just barely surpass them.
Paul Chryst was made to go 9-3,
yeah, or 10-2.
Yeah,
like a 9-3, 10-2, and it just kind of depended on did he pull like Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State as often as he would, and then what was Michigan State like at the time? Too.
Exactly. Well, yeah, because that's a weird roller coaster to get on.
But like I think Finn, I trust Finn.
Yeah,
personally,
I do too. I think that he has to reacclimate because like now he's on his third team in as many years.
Yes,
and so it's like, do I trust him to be hitting on all cylinders week one? Maybe. Like, he has the experience. He knows what – obviously, he's not playing a MAC team, but he knows what it looks like to be in a MAC offense. And, like, you should be able to expedite a lot of that process by how long you've been in college at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But he is still having to acclimate. And it's, like you said, 3 new receivers, a new tight end, all from the transfer portal. Like, none of these guys have really – like, spring and summer have been the only times these guys have worked together.
Yeah.
So, even with the inconsistency – with it being so apparent on both sides, I have to just kind of lean like, oh, the more blue chip prospects are probably going to win. Wisconsin draws more talent than Miami.
Yeah.
You know,
I think you're totally fair in making that pick.
Nature of the beast. But that would be a fun, if we were a gambling show, that would be a very fun one that you like kind of have to push towards. Miami.
Oh yeah. Or like even like to discuss a spread if I had one.
Yeah.
Which we probably will later in the year, but
yeah. Whatever it is, it's probably not close enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. But the other game that's going on, Cincinnati, Nebraska, Kansas City. I'll
neutral site.
I'll lead off with my prediction.
Yeah, go for it.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Dylan
Raiola.
Dylan Raiola. Again,
year 3 Matt Rule. That is a different animal.
And we said it all last year.
Mm-hmm.
This is a pro Brendan Sorsby podcast.
Dude, yes.
But
Sorsby's the man.
I don't know about UC's defense against the Nebraska offense right now. And I also don't know about their offense against the Nebraska defense.
How much hate will I get if I say Brendan Sorsby is the best quarterback in the state of Ohio? Because Julian Sayin is here. I guess like Akron's not.
I mean, there's like
Daquan Finn is an option.
There's I don't know. I don't forget the name of the Toledo quarterback right now, but he's decent.
Yeah, but he's not.
Ohio's pretty good.
Yeah,
but like
I think it's Sayin or Sorsby.
Yeah,
and I think
mean,
it's
on
Sorsby.
paper it's Sorsby, like because you just haven't seen Sayin enough,
right? Which like if we're going off like 24/7, like it's Sayin.
Yeah,
but like what I've seen, and like what I believe in my heart, I think Sorsby is the better. Like if I'm picking a quarterback to lead my college team and I'm only allowed to use guys in the state of Ohio, I think Sorsby's the pick.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, that knocked us way off our ball there.
But. No, you're totally fine. And I'll mention because we had the interview with GameOnPaper.com, and so I will be using their stats this year, and I'll mention that with each one. But with the preview for this game, notably, the one thing that Cincinnati does really well is pass.
Mm-hmm. Go figure.
Their offensive success rate with a pass is 46.1%. That's 29th in the nation. And on the flip side, Nebraska, 41.5%, 72 in the nation. Nebraska's run is 22 in the nation. Defensive success against the rush for Cincinnati is 81st. It's again that thing where I even if it's not Raiola throwing all over Cincinnati, I don't think that the Cincinnati defense necessarily shuts down the Huskers.
No, well, and I think Rule has established and kind of brought back some of that feeling where it's like, oh, Nebraska does get 4 stars. Nebraska does get like borderline 5 stars.
Well, Nebraska or just Nebraska gets the big guys who eat corn all day and go to the weightlifting room.
Right.
And
but there's a difference in the guys that grew up in Lincoln doing that.
Yeah.
And, those 3-star guys, and then getting those dudes from Texas that are doing the same thing, going to dedicate to it. But now are like, oh, wait, Nebraska's kind of back. Like, I'm actually going to allocate like top-tier talent that has the right mindset.
Yes.
That's kind of the key differential there. Not to discredit, kids from Lincoln, but it's a little different.
No, and I think it was more just like, that was also just a time where getting in contact with players was easier to do with a local player versus traveling all over to different states and things like that.
Yeah, well, and especially because like back then you also didn't like have the communications to get like to speak to your parents. So like moving off for school is like a way bigger venture than it is now. Regardless, UC is going to be an 8-win team this year to me. One of those wins will not be against Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm choosing to look at it. And I
7
think,
or 8, but yeah.
I think it's 7 or 8, and I think that Sorsby is the difference between, like 5 and 7.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree that I do agree that if they get bowl eligible, it's on the back of Brendan Sorsby.
Yes.
But yeah, and so that is again, those games are next Thursday. Correct. So still a week. Something may change in between now and then that we'll have to bring up next week.
Yes.
But I wanted to mention a couple of things because there was big news last week and big news this week. And we'll start with what happened this week because it is not football related. It is basketball related.
Yep.
Jizzle James was let go from the University of Cincinnati basketball program. He was the leading scorer for the Bearcats. The head coach, Wes Miller, said that he was going through some personal issues and was let go, I believe, a month ago already. And this is just kind of the first acknowledgement of it.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to talk about the social media things and things like that, but I will just say I hope that Jizzle James is getting the help that he needs and the support from family, friends, whatever.
Yep. Whatever, like basketball kind of back burner, just kind of do your thing. And if the opportunity comes back up, obviously you can take it.
Hopefully
whatever,
we can see him on a court again.
Yes.
But yes.
Yeah, it's, do your thing.
And so the other thing that we wanted to talk about is not in Ohio, and it is the team that you always like to never mention, and that is Michigan. And so the Michigan did receive sanctions for sign stealing. If you'll remember, this was 3 years ago now?
2
years ago.
Yeah.
And so because, NCAA.
Naturally.
Fast working.
Of course.
Bringing down their
We're still, probably not going to, I don't know, this is a completely different governing body, but we're, still waiting on Rashee Rice's suspension.
Yeah.
And, that was a while ago.
Well, and that got delayed by, weeks already, too.
Yeah.
So.
And then, Jordan Addison's thing just hit from the start of last year.
Yeah.
It's all it's a mess.
It's a mess. But so the big thing is, they have a 10-year show cause for Jim Harbaugh. Respectfully, none of the show causes matter.
No.
It's Harbaugh for 10 years, it's Stallions for 8 years, it's Sherrone Moore for 2.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Moore affects a little bit more. Can't really go to a different team, things like that. Harbaugh's is just if he ever comes back to college in the next, I think it's 10, it's actually longer now because there was another set of show cause on top of that. He won't be able to coach for the first 4 games or 5 games or something like that. Again, it's not really a penalty.
You're right. And if he comes back to college, it's to Michigan.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they're willing to put it behind him. He won him a natty.
But here is the big thing.
Yeah.
Is the fines that they are going to be facing. It is the most likely highest fine. It is expected to be the highest fine ever received. Ross Dellinger with Yahoo Sports reported that it is a chance to reach up to $35 million. Do you know what the previous high was?
I would guess 12.
Do you know the team?
Is it Tennessee?
It's Tennessee, and that was $8 to $9 million.
Okay, yeah. It's Pruitt, Tennessee.
But
of course it is.
But specifically, the fines are 10% of the football budget.
Mm-hmm.
Dellinger's estimations were about $7.2 million.
Okay.
Then it is $27 million, and that is $6 million of what would have come from the college football playoff this year, $21 million from the college football playoff in 2026.
Yeah.
And then it is a $700,000, 10% of all football scholarships awarded.
Whew.
So again,
it's a lot.
And now I know that this is a thing that people are going to be like, oh, you can raise that money, you can blah 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 blah. You can't you're not going to be able to just raise.
Yeah, no.
Because as Matt Brown with Extra Points reported, the entire university has a budget of $13.4 billion from 2024.
Yeah.
Now, but specifically, that is like everything. That's their healthcare system. That is the other campuses in Dearborn and Flint, all of the colleges under Ann Arbor campus.
Well, it's also like it's a very smart school. So like there's a lot of investment into that.
$25 million is more than the operating budget of their College of Education, College of Pharmacy, and School of Public Policy.
Combined or separate?
My understanding is separate.
Okay.
Especially if you're trying to reach a $13.4 billion budget, I believe those
that would have to be.
And then as his open records request from Extra Points, it was a $238.3 million athletic department budget. Mm-hmm. Part of why it's like that $23 million, whatever. And so, again, Akron has a budget of about $35 million.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
Miami, Ohio.
How long do we
this
go?
Is going to be more than that.
How long do we go until these fines become the NIL budget?
So that is another that was kind of one thing that he talked about was like, how do you pay this? You're already getting donors to put money in to try to help with NIL. Mm-hmm. You can't pull from an endowment because that's tax penalties. That money is all separated off for specific things. They brought in about $44 million of contributions. About $33.6 million was allocated to football last year.
Okay.
But that's you say like put that, just spend it. You don't have the money to pay for NIL. You don't have the money to cover random expenses and things like that. That some of that stuff goes for. And then another thing that he compared it to was the Jimbo Fisher buyout, where it's like, it was $70 million. A&M paid him $19 million in his first 60 days, and the rest is spread out till 2020 or 2031.
Right, like it was a long time.
It's also not boosters paying those checks. The Athletic had reported that it was going to be the Athletics and 12th Man Foundation, which is like a separate entity that isn't donors but also is donors and all that weird stuff.
The NIL collective offshore weirdness.
It's their primary fundraising arm.
Oh, okay.
But it's a separate 501(c)(3) entity.
Yeah.
So what does this mean? I think if the way that Michigan is going to cut this, it's not actually going to affect the program. It's going to affect. I think you're going to see layoffs at Michigan, probably from like the creative department and the things that they can kind of go, oh, we just kind of chop this away. That it may affect, the vendor that they use at the big house and things like that. All of this really is just to say, I don't think that it's actually going to affect the product that Michigan puts out on the field. So Ohio State, step up your game this year.
Yeah, Ryan Day needs a win there bad.
Yep.
Like real bad. But point being, yeah, I think that a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, no, it was just money. Like there's not really any bowl ban. There's no, we didn't take the title off of them.
Which I'm kind of surprised.
I'm not surprised they didn't take the title off of them because I think with the NIL era, they're like, we want our history to actually be like Reggie, like they gave Reggie his Heisman.
Isn't the last title that was taken away basically Louisville in men's basketball?
Yeah.
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 And I'm like, and there's been so much that's happened since then that I don't think they're ever going to take a title away again.
They took, because like the real prominent ones that I remember, like they took SMU's away.
Yes,
during
SMU had the deaths penalty. But,
yes, yeah, but like that's the one that always just sticks out to me. But
and that was because that was the 80s.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, because it was Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, you're sure it's not a bowl ban. Sure, it's not like scholarships yanked away and whatever. But Michigan is ultimately too valuable a brand for them to do that too.
Which was one of the things that I didn't love that they said when they wrote it, where they're like, well, this is the actions of staff and athletes that aren't at the program anymore. And, I saw a couple people pointing out, like, Akron is serving a bowl ban this year because of the academics of players that are no longer on the team.
Yep.
So.
Make it make sense.
And it won't.
No.
But that's what we're here for every week for you.
To point it out.
To point these things out and make you question them and question the NCAA as an entity. But
which is as American as you can get.
Hey, it's as American as apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking, and obviously, if you've been listening, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 19 Now Sports feed on your favorite podcast apps, because not only do you get the 19 on the Clock podcast, you also get the Gold Standard podcast on Fridays, and you get Offsides with Gabby Sorrentino on Mondays. This week she has a interview with Jordan Battle from the Cincinnati Bengals, talking about his interests off the field and things like that, and kind of just giving you an inside look into a lot of these athletes' lives when they don't have a helmet or a hat or the cleats or
just keep going.
Hockey pads.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, we got the Cyclones. And
shoulder pads.
Shoulder pads, yeah. And
basketball shorts.
And their Jordans on.
Yeah, there you
go. Right. There we go.
Oh, man.
And then Charlie Goldsmith and Joe Danneman
Gold Standard.
On Fridays with the Gold Standard, talking about Cincinnati Bengals.
It's a fantastic lineup.
Cincinnati Reds and sometimes other Cincinnati sports stuff. But
yeah.
You get your high school, college
pros
flavor. What's not the word? Flavor fix. Yeah, from us. You get your pro fix from them,
and then you get like the personality, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, and you get the better personalities of Joe and Gabby.
Oh no, I meant that. Oh man, no man.
That's just me. That's the way that I'm trying to get them to come back on for another episode.
Yeah.
Especially now that we're in the new room.
I have heard groveling works.
Yeah. Is it crawling on our knees? Is that what we'll have to do? All right.
Yes.
Well, we'll work on that.
Begging and pleading. Well, that's what we need to be practicing.
And of course, the video version as well. If you want to see highlights, especially now that we're getting into the college or into the high school football season. Mm-hmm. This week's going to be still all last year stuff, but once we start getting into these new games, as games are happening, you can see stuff that Jackson remembers seeing the week before.
Correct.
And we'll specifically call out. And so you can find that on Fox 19 Now's YouTube or the Fox 19 Now website and sports app. But as always, thank you all for listening and watching. We will see you again next week.
Have a good one.